Hi, everybody. It's Eric Murray from the SugarHuddle.com. Well, Monday night's Eagles-Redskins game, in a weird way, almost felt like a de facto elimination because if the Eagles would have lost, they would have fallen to 5-7, 2 games back in the division with 4 to play, and even in the wide open NFC East, the way the Eagles have been playing, having not won back-to-back games all year long, despite being the defending Super Bowl champs, you kind of felt like they were pretty much officially done if they didn't win this. Wild card picture obviously doesn't look great for them if they would have fallen to 5-7 as well. And the flip side of it, Redskins started 6-3 out in front of the division, surprising start, and of course with all the injuries, including Alex Smith breaking his leg, playing with Colt McCoy as your backup quarterback, a loss drops you to 6-6, 3 straight losses, and even though you're still only a game out in the division, you're done playing for the Cowboys for the rest of the year, and it just kind of feels like your season is completely slipping away from you. So if you get the win, improve to 7-5, you have some confidence going into the very next week. Actually, this Sunday, I should say, when you play the Giants and you host the Giants. But if you lose and you fall to 6-6, you feel like your season's over. The way it turned out, the Eagles at home finally got back-to-back wins. They go from 4-6 to now 6-6 after back-to-back wins. And of course, they play at Dallas on Sunday, so that's going to be a huge game. See if they can get their revenge on them and tie for the division lead if they can get a win there. But anyways, they beat the Redskins 28-13. Philly led 14-13 going into the fourth quarter, but still felt like Philly was in control, believe it or not, even though it was only 1-point game. And then what they did is they drove down the field, long drive. I think it was 11 plays, 85 yards. Carson Wentz, he connects with Jordan Matthews, a former Eagle who's now back in Philly again for the short touchdown. And then up 20-13, instead of kicking the extra point to make an 8-point game, really put the pressure on the Redskins, Doug Peterson actually decided to roll the dice and go for 2, which was an interesting move. And Carson Wentz was able to connect with Golden Tate for a 2-point conversion, make it 22-13. And then Mark Sanchez, who I'll get to why he was in the game at that point, he was picked off by Nate Jerry just a few plays later, and then another field goal for the Eagles, or the Eagles get a field goal, then they had another field goal later to make it 28-13. So 14-0 fourth quarter advantage. But the main thing was the Eagles' defense, which we know can be one of the best in the league when they play consistently, can have a great run defense when they play consistently. They allowed just 36 second-half yards to the Washington Redskins. Main story in this game, as far as the Redskins, speaking of which, is that Colt McCoy, who, of course, been there the entire time that Jay Gruden's been there 5 years, been the backup quarterback to multiple Redskins starting quarterbacks. He, of course, had to become a starter a couple weeks ago when Alex Smith went down with his aforementioned broken leg. And, McCoy, he's been okay as a starter in the short time that he's taken over that job. Started this game 450 yards, moved the ball a little bit. But he ends up getting injured himself in this one. And unfortunately for McCoy, it's a season-ending injury. He fractured his fibula, and that was early in the second quarter, late first quarter. I believe it was early second quarter. So now he's done for the year. So the quarterback they signed off the street, very experienced veteran with a lot of experience, Mark Sanchez, one of my former USC guys, he's now going to be the starting quarterback, and the Redskins will have to sign another quarterback off the street to try to back up Sanchez, and that quarterback could end up upending Sanchez for starting job. So it's really kind of a mess in Washington right now, and they had some offensive linemen get banged up. So they had multiple guys that got banged up in this game, already dealing with a number of injuries, on top of course, the quarterback position, which is the biggest problem. It just really limits you. But anyways, the Eagles, they get off to a really strong start. Their opening drives, 12 plays, 75 yards, covered 7.5 minutes. You go up 7-zip very, very quickly. It was a Wentz to Golden Tate 6-yard touchdown. Of course, Tate, who they acquired via trade from Detroit a while back, and he's starting to become more and more a factor in their offense. And then the big thing was it was 7-3. Washington's able to drive out and get a field goal, but then McCoy gets knocked out of the game. Then the Redskins get the ball back at their own 10-yard line, and Adrian Peterson, 33 years old, had the longest touchdown run of his career, including his college days at Oklahoma. He had the longest touchdown run for a player his age, 90-yard touchdown run, took it right up the gut, great blocking in front, and was able to house it. And the Redskins actually went ahead 10-7, but Philly actually, they countered on their next drive. They went something like 10 plays, 75 yards. It was 4th and goal at the 1. They called a timeout. They were thinking about going for it, and on the 4th and goal play, it gets stuffed for about 2 or 3 yard loss because one Redskin was completely unblocked on the play, completely blew up the play. Other than that, probably would have been a touchdown. Would have been very, very close at the goal line there. Probably would have been a touchdown. Instead, it's about a loss of like 3 yards. But to Philly's credit, they're able to quickly get the ball back before half, and they do a 3-play. I believe it was only about a 40-yard drive, real quick, short drive. Darren Sproles, 14-yard touchdown, and Redskins added a field goal right before half. So it was 14-13, and it stayed that score through the end of the third quarter. But, in the third quarter itself, Philly put together a really nice another really nice drive, and inside the 10-yard line, Wentz staring down Alshon Jeffrey, coming across on a pick route, and Josh Norman, who's kind of had a rough time since signing that big contract with the Redskins a couple years ago, he stepped right in front of it, picked it off, so that killed that drive. But nonetheless, soon after, Philly was able to bounce back, 11-play, 85-yard drive, another pick route on the other side of the formation, on the other end of the field, because, of course, now it was the fourth quarter. This one, a 4-yard touchdown pass to Matthews, as I already mentioned, and that made it to 20-13, and it was 2-point version, 22-13. So really a nice effort for the Eagles. Zach Ertz had another big game, as he always does, from his tight end spot for the Eagles. Go-to receiver for Wentz, 9 receptions, 83 yards. Tate actually had a really nice game as well. I'm trying to find what his official numbers here were. Let's see if I have it written down here. 7 receptions, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Nice thing that Philly really did in this, they've been criticized for not committing to running the football enough. Early on, their running backs were a little indecisive, and they got in a groove. Josh Adams, the undrafted free agent out of Notre Dame, really talented Philadelphia area native. He had 20 carries, 85 yards in this one. They had 33 rushes for 130 yards as a team. Wentz, he was a little bit off the mark time to time, missed on a few throws. He's still really reliant on going to Ertz. Still too much dinking and dunking. They need to get more creative with their offense. Other receivers need to step up more, even with Tate's effort on Monday night. So they still need to expand their offense more. Still not sure how much you can fully trust them. Wentz overall, though, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. But nonetheless, in a position where they have to do more offensively and defensively. If their defense can play at a high level like they did in this one, like they're capable of doing as a top 5 run defense, they'll definitely have a shot to get their revenge on Dallas and have a shot to win this division. They're definitely a team that can go on a winning streak, despite this being their first back-to-back win of the season. Again, they're defending world champions. Carson Wentz, coming back from his torn ACL, he's starting to slowly find his groove a little bit. So it should be an interesting game at Dallas. See what Philly can do. Second time they play them in a few weeks. And the Redskins, of course, host the Giants. But again, 6-6, it kind of feels like Washington, who's lost 3 in a row, could easily lose out, finish on a 7-game losing streak, and end at 6-10. Because you gave all that money to Alex Smith, you probably can't fire Jay Gruden. You probably have to bring him back for one more year and see what Alex Smith gives you next year. And then whatever happens next year, you can always move on from Gruden after the year. And you're still going to have a lot of money that you owe Alex Smith. We'll see what happens after next year, but I kind of think Gruden will be back regardless of what happens. A lot of injuries. Sanchez just came into the team less than 2 weeks ago. He ended up 13 of 21, 100 yards and interception. Again, you can't expect much out of him. As a team, they had 14 carries, 104 yards. Peterson, 9 for 98. So you do the math, you subtract that 90-yard touchdown run. They had 13 carries for 14 yards, and Peterson, 8 carries for 8 yards once you subtract his touchdown. So overall, just one of those things that you knew it was going to be tough sledding for the Redskins in this game, but the inconsistency of the Eagles was going to give them an opportunity to win this football game. And for a while there, looked like they had a shot, but with McCoy going down, now the backup to your backup is in. It just makes it really, really tough. So the Redskins, very possible that they could lose out. And the Eagles now, they have the opportunity to steal this division all of a sudden. Be a very, very intriguing matchup on Sunday at Dallas. We'll see what they can do. Like I said, a little bit more consistency on offense, trying to be less reliant on Zach Ertz. We'll see how that goes, continuing to commit to running football. And a defensive effort like they had in this one. Fletcher Cox, one of the best defensive tackles, all-around defensive players in the game, had an excellent game in this one. Had at least 1 sack, might have even had 2. But anyways, the Eagles, we'll see if they can keep it going and get 3 in a row. So please go to sugarhuddle.com. Please like my Facebook page, which is Sugar Huddle, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.